All right, so here's the review video for our test on Monday. Remember, we're talking about triangle properties, and you will be allowed to use your notes, so you need to make sure that you take good notes and that you have your notes organized so you can quickly find what you're going to need on Monday. All right, so question 1, it says an octagon is shown. Hopefully you remember that octagon is something that has 8 sides. And question 1 says, what is the sum of interior angles? So sum, remember, means when you add them all together. And sum of interiors is when we drew the triangles. So remember, if it has 8 sides, that means that it has 6 triangles. And if you don't remember that, you can draw them out. So we're going to do 6 times 180, because each triangle is 180. And we should get, all right, let me check that out. Let's see, 6 times. I'm going to get 1080. So there's 1,080 degrees is the sum. Okay? That's your final answer there. If they had asked you to find just one of the angles, then you would do, so I'm going to make this note, one angle, one interior angle, would be 1080 divided by 8, because there's 8 total angles, which would be 135. So one interior would be 135. Another note that I would remind you of is that exterior, the sum of exterior is 360. So if you want to do one exterior, you're going to do 360 divided by 8. Which should give you 45 degrees. So 45 would be one exterior. I'm just making those notes for you in case you need that for your test. All right, question 2. Use the sketch above to draw diagonals and then explain your reasoning. So for diagonals, that means we're really just drawing those like triangles. How many triangles can you see? So remember, we pick a point. We're just going to draw as many triangles as we can make going to the different vertices. And you should confirm that you get 1, 2, you can even write it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles. Okay, so there's not really anything to explain there. We can just say see drawing. All right. Question 3, a polygon has an interior angle sum of 25, 20. How many sides must the polygon have? So this time they're giving me the sum, the total, and asking me for the number of sides. So I'm going to kind of work backwards. If the total is 25, 20, I'm going to divide that by 180 to figure out how many triangles I have. All right, so that tells me that this polygon has 14 triangles inside. Well, remember, the number of triangles is 2 less than the number of sides. So if there's 14 triangles, that must mean that there were 16 sides of the polygon, because 14 plus 2 is going to give you 16. Okay. Question 4, give an example of each angle. Name an interior angle. Okay, this is not a trick question. It just means name an angle that's on the inside. So examples could be angle 1, or angle 2, or angle 4. All right, question B says name an exterior angle. That's an angle that's outside of the triangle. To me, it looks like 3 is on the outside, so I'm going to say angle 3 is exterior. Okay. Question 5. What is the measure of angle S, and show your work? Now, I'm going to do a few different things here. I'm going to find all the angles before I answer that question, but they're really just asking me for angle S in the end. So right now, I see a triangle, and I know that all the angles in a triangle add to equal 180. So I'm going to set up an equation to do that. So that's 77 plus 60 plus 2x plus 3 equals 180. Now to solve that, we need to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine all of these number values. 77. All right, that's 140. So 140 plus 2x equals 180. All right, now we're just working out our algebra. I'm going to subtract 140. That gives me that 2x equals 40. Divide by 2, so x is going to be 20. Now it's important to know that x is 20, but they want me to find the actual measure of the angle. So I need to take this x. If I want to know how big this angle is, I'm going to plug this x back in. Okay, so to find the measure of angle S, that's going to be 2 times 20 plus 3, which is going to be 40 plus 3. That's, if you use a calculator, you should get that the measure of angle S is 43 degrees. Now, one thing you could do to go back and check is you could add 43 plus 77 plus 60 and make sure that that equals 180, and it should in your calculator. All right, talking about this angle out here, if they asked me to find the measure of angle PQR, we would take that same x value and plug it in out here. So if you plug x in there, 6 times 20 is 120 degrees. And that should make sense because remember, these two angles are a linear pair, so they have to equal 180 degrees. I'm just making notes for you in case you need them on your test, okay? Question 6, we're not going to be using at all. All right, question 7. Now this one's a little bit more challenging. They asked me for the measure of angle U. Now this is not a triangle, right? This has 5 sides, which is going to make this a pentagon. Okay, so it has 5 sides, which means if it has 5 sides, it's got 3 triangles. So 3 times 180 is going to be 540. This time that means if you add all of these together, they should equal 540. So it's very much like the question we did number 5, where we added the 3 angles to get 180. It's just this time we're going to add 5 angles, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to get 540. So let's talk about what those 5 angles are. I'm going to just start at S. So this angle down here, S, the box, is 90 plus, I guess I don't have to put the degree symbol. All right, so 90 is one of them, plus 2x plus x plus 2x plus 90, so I'm just moving around to all 5 of them, equals 540. All right, if you think you know how to do that algebra, but you weren't sure how to set it up, go ahead and do that and check your work. So now I'm going to combine like terms. I see 90 and 90 can go together. That's going to make 180. I see that all these x's can go. This is a 1x here in the middle, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is plus 5x equals 540. And we're just doing basic algebra now, right? Subtract 180. That's going to give me that 5x equals, let's see, minus, trying to show steps for you so you know where I'm getting stuff. All right, that's going to give me 360. And if I divide that by 5, I'm pretty sure I get 72, but let me check. Yeah. Now, go back and read the question. This says, what is the measure of angle U? They want to know how big U is, so we need to plug that back in. In this instance, if you plug that back in, U is just X, so the measure of angle U is 72. You could plug that back into the other ones, though. For instance, if you plug back in here, that's going to give you 144 on these other 2. And remember, just like the other one, you could check by adding all of these angles together and make sure that you get 540. All right, let's go ahead and look at the back then. We did questions 8 and 9 together in class, so hopefully you got some notes taken there. Question 10. They're asking me to figure out if the triangle is equilateral, isosceles, or neither. So what I first need to do is figure out, well, what do I know about these angles? I know that these two are the same. So that means it's at least isosceles because I have two angles the same. To me, I think I need to figure out x because I need actual numbers. So I'm going to work out an algebra problem and figure out what x is. So let's see. 2x plus, oh, you can't see that. 2x plus 2x plus 3x minus 30 is going to equal 180. Those are my three angles in the triangle. All right, I'm going to combine like terms. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7x minus 30 equals 180. Add 30 to both sides. So 7x equals 210. Divide by 7, which is going to give me that x equals 30. Now remember what the question is asking. Is the triangle isosceles, equilateral, or neither? So think about, why does it help me to know that x is 30? Okay, so hopefully you think that because x is 30, you can figure out how big these angles are. So if I plug 30 back in, this is going to give me 60, because 2 times 30 is 60. 60. And then on this one, I've got, this is 3 times 30 minus 30, which is also going to give you 60. So now, if you recognize, that has three angles that are all the same. So if we have three congruent angles, and if all three angles equal 60 degrees, that must mean that this is an equilateral triangle. Okay, so that's how you would prove or show that that was an equilateral triangle. All right, question 11 kind of goes along with this picture, so that's going to be a little difficult because you're not going to see what we're looking at. It says the perimeter of that triangle is 72. Is it possible to determine YZ? So I'm going to draw a triangle just so we can see it. I'm going to draw that, well, I guess I should draw it the same way that that one is. I'm just copying the triangle down from the other one. Y, Z, X. Perimeter is the outside, okay? And we just said this is equilateral, which means all three of these sides are the same length. So if the outside is 72, and I know all three of them are the same, I can figure out each one of those sides, right? I can do 72 divided by 3, which is going to tell me that each side is 24. Right? If you don't believe me, you can put 24 on each side and add them up. 24 plus 24 plus 24, and you will get 72. So now that I know that each side is 24, it says, is it possible to determine YZ? So we can say, yes, YZ equals 24 because all three sides are equal. All right, question 12. We already talked about that one in class. Make sure that you have notes for yourself, and remember, it's the two smallest ones have to be bigger than the bigger one. Make sure you have notes somewhere about isosceles and scaling and how to classify all of those. All right, question 13. It says, arrange the angle measures from least to greatest. So if we do least to greatest, I'm looking at, it says angles. So my final answer should be angle measures. So this is what we did in class today. We're going to find the smallest one. So 5.2 is the smallest. And if I if I draw my tornado there, that's going to lead me to this angle J. So angle J is the smallest angle. All right, I'll do the medium one next. So 6.8 is the next one. If I draw a tornado, that's going to lead me to angle L. So it's going to be angle L. Then the K, the last one, will be right here. And draw up, that leads me to angle K. So that's my angles in order from smallest to largest. All right, question 14. This one gives me information about a triangle, and it says which side has the least measure. So it's asking me which side is the shortest. So notice that they don't give me a triangle, so I'm going to draw one. And I'm just to be honest with you, when I draw triangles, for the most part, they look the same every time because we have to pay attention to the measurement. So this is W, X, Y. It says W is 40, X is 60, and Y is 80. All right, it says which side has the least measure. So I'm going to find the smallest angle because it's the one that goes with the shortest side. If I undraw my tornado, that's going to lead me to this side, XY. So I'm going to say XY is the shortest. You all are pretty good at those problems. All right, question 15, last one. A triangle has sides 12 and 22. What are the possible side lengths of the third side? All right, so 12. This one I am going to kind of draw a little bit better. 12 and 22. And I want to know what's this last side measure. What could it be? So we know it has to be bigger than this 22 because that's the smallest, it's bigger than that one. So I'm going to say the third side has to be bigger than 22. And then it needs to be smaller than if you added those two together. So 12 plus 22 is going to give me 34. So that means and X has to be less than 34. So make sure you understand where you got all that from. Make sure you have good notes. And one more time, make sure that your notes are organized. Because if you're having to flip back through and you can't read your notes or you don't know what they mean, they're not going to be helpful to you for your test. All right? Study well. Make sure you're well prepared on Monday.